Wake up in the morning.
Wake up, Atlanta. It's time for coffee. Talk presented by Spotify. Fresh vibes, real talk.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boy howdy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and germs, welcome back to another exciting morning show here today. This is, of course, Coffee Talk presented, powered by, and sponsored by Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, we are hoping that everyone is having a fantastic, and I do mean this, I really do mean this, guys, a fantastic Monday. It is a wonderful Monday, a brand new start to the week. Love Day was Saturday. And we'll get into it. I promise you guys, I'm going to get into all the nitty and gritty of my Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we hope that everyone has had a fantastic weekend when it comes down to it. I hope that all my cast members and crew members here in the radio station, we hope that y'all have had a relaxing 3-day, it's almost like a 3-day weekend for us from some stuff that we have going on. But obviously, we hope that everyone has had a great weekend. We hope everyone has had a fantastic Valentine's Day. I will tell you guys everything that I've did on Valentine's Day. We do have quite a few reviews here today as well. I got 2 reviews, a movie review and a video game review that will kick the show started off this morning. So sit back, relax, enjoy your coffee. This is Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. Of course, you guys know each and every morning. Well, not every morning because I don't drink coffee like every day, but I do have my latte here in the studio, the station, and to sip on that, to get ready to talk about some topics of conversations here today as I jetted to work this morning. We hope that everyone is enjoying their Monday. Again, you guys know we're here doing the show, and then you guys know I'm going to the gym right after this, and then tomorrow, Tuesday, I am going to take a body rest day. But this is something I noticed from the gym yesterday, and of course, getting in the car coming to the station this morning. Apple has updated the CarPlay, and Apple's CarPlay, they added widgets, and let me tell you, so my car, it was with the grace of God, because I love that piece of machine. I love that vehicle. My car obviously has CarPlay. I think that is kind of the standard on certain cars. I think a lot of people, and I won't say a lot of people, because a lot of people don't have the upgraded CarPlay. And I don't judge. We don't judge people. Some people don't have it, but when it comes down to it, my car had that CarPlay, and the widgets was on there. Hope and audience, it's Simone. Hey, Simone's here too. The widgets, they added the widgets on the CarPlay, and I scroll over, and then the widget, so my widget, I have like the weather and like the classical watch or the classical clock that has a classical modern feel to it. And I don't know, it just makes the car looks 10 times more luxurious, in my opinion. If you guys know, you know. So I scrolled over and I saw it gave me a message and said, hey, here, introducing to you guys the widgets. And it was like, okay, cool, widgets. And then it has like the clock. And then on the right, it has the weather and the API and the index and the participation. I think I probably butchered that on the right side. And I thought it was just really cool. I'm sure you guys can edit your widgets. I look forward to see if I can toy around with the widgets, but I do like that because it does make my dashboard look good. And it's just something, I don't know, it's just something, it's so simple, right? A lot of people would say to me this morning on the show, Kennedy, that is like the most simplest thing that, Apple could do. But I really think it really adds some character. I really think it adds more luxurious to your dashboard. So guys, if you don't know, update your phone. I think it has all to do with the phone, obviously, because your phone, along with the type of car you have, your phone is updated, and I think Apple is working on updating the latest update, because when I updated my phone and my MacBook and the desktop in my office with the liquid glass look, with that update, my phone performed kind of slow. So hopefully they're fixing that, because before the update, I didn't have, my phone wasn't moving that slow before the update. Now that I had the update, now my phone's moving slow. So just one of those things that Apple is working out the kinks for that as well. But that's something that I noticed. I really like that. Apple, keep that up. Because CarPlay, let me tell you, CarPlay is one of those things. It's needed, right? It's like CarPlay is just a nice interface to look at with your cars because we all know we're here in Atlanta. Obviously, we're in the car 24/7, not 24/7, but almost every day, right? So like CarPlay is essential. So I'm glad that they updated it. I'm glad they gave us something new when it comes down to that as well. Very very cool for CarPlay and Apple to develop that thing. So of course, Valentine's Day was on Saturday. Very, very fantastic Saturday. And I will break down what I did on the show this morning, what I did on Valentine's Day. Very fantastic. If you are with a loved one, if you're celebrating with your significant other, whether it's a wife or a husband or a boyfriend, girlfriend, or if it's just a situationship, we don't judge. We don't judge people with situationships when it comes down to it. Again, I probably said it last week, but again, happy belated Valentine's Day. We hope that everyone was able to celebrate with their loved ones. Of course, I woke up, and I'm going to break down the whole day. Woke up, we announced, of course, shout out to my girl, Nyla Monroe. Of course, that is our new artist that is signed to the sort of newly formed Swanky Records. We switched the name to K.L.P Music Group. And if you guys don't know what it stands for, K.L.P Entertainment Filmworks Music Group is the official name for it. K.L.P Entertainment Music. It's been very, very long time coming. And I will say to you guys, honestly, on the show, that this was something that I had got cooked up for months now. Nyla, she's been signed to us, and we've been working on her new upcoming album. So within the last 3 years, I want to say, I produced music. Obviously, you guys know, we did some music, and Nyla came up to us because she was a writer. She wrote on what album did she wrote on? So she wrote on Soft Guy Season, and I think she wrote a little bit on Crown Me Savage Part 1. And she was in the booth, she's recording, she's doing her thing for me and Dravion and Swinky Oris. I said, hey, do you want to sing? And she's like, yes, I do. I was like, okay, because you got a voice. We gonna work on something for you, because if you can sing and you want to sing, but writing for me, I'm gonna produce you. So we hope that y'all are ready for it. Me and Nyla, we shared that kiss for her album cover. Again, hey, I ain't doing it with my artist like that. It's just something she wanted to do. And we had a little, it's consensual, number one. And me and Nyla had a thing before. So it's not like we're complete strangers kissing up on each other. But I'm very, very excited for me and Nyla's album. So actually, no, I'll say it's not me and Nyla's album. I'm just a feature. This is not my album. This is Nyla Monroe's album. So because I had a lot of friends say, okay, you got another one, Kennedy. It's like, no, I'm featured in this album. I helped produce her, but this is Nyla Monroe's album. It is not a K.L.P. It's not a Kennedy Lucas album. Strictly hers. Of course, I got a little rap verse in one of the songs, right? But this is her album. I'm very, very excited for her album to come out. We're going to announce the release date. It's coming up very, 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 very soon with the drop, right? So just stay tuned for that as well. But that's what I did Saturday morning. I woke up. We premiered and announced Nyla Monroe to K.L.P Entertainment Music Group. And of course, I got my happy ass up. I got dressed. And I knew that this was going to be a full day. I ended up going to the gym. Shout out to Crunch Snellville. The love is there. Surprisingly enough, ladies and gentlemen, that when I woke up into the gym, there were a lot of... So I don't want to say it was empty on Valentine's Day. There was a lot of men, surprisingly, a lot of single men in the gym, myself included. Me and my buddy Chris, shout out to Chris because he's one of our producers here too. We had this running joke, and the running joke was like, we're gonna just go to the gym on Valentine's Day just to see how many lonely bitches are gonna be in this gym. Now, when I say bitches, I don't mean ladies. I mean ladies and men, right? Because I'm one of the lonely bitches that go to the gym, right? Because obviously I'm single, right? So And it was a running joke to a lot of people. It wasn't serious, right? It was just it was an unserious joke that we had. And because we were there as well as lonely bitches in the gym, right? Single. So we walked up in there, a lot of single men in there. There were some ladies in there. I did see two couples. I did see two of my friend couples that, they were having a great time when it comes down to it. You shout out to Amia and John. Those were one of the two couples that are boyfriend and girlfriend. And one thing I like to do when I see couples that I know and are friends with, I like to wish them a happy Valentine's Day, because obviously it's Love Day. And surprisingly enough, they told me that I asked them, what's their plans, and they said no, they got to work. They said we're gonna do our Valentine's Day another day, because they both work. So shout out to them. And then also, I wished my friend Ben and Anara, their newly married couple, husband and wife, that they're celebrating their Valentine's Day. Both Anara, Ben, and I, along with a lot of friends, we were RAs, and we went to GGC, so we're just college friends, and we all getting a little bit older now. And they wished, and shout out to Ben too, because Ben Coker, he's getting swoller. But he said, he took Anara out on a nice fancy steak dinner. So shout out to the couples out there celebrating Valentine's Day when it comes down to it. But I'm very, very happy about that. I'm very happy about the success that they are able to achieve when it comes down to Valentine's Day. I felt happy. Right? I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel sad, not at all, at the gym, because I was in my most humble self. I was able to dance and gym lift and bench press and doing my exercise, doing my workout, clanging and banging, doing a lot of cardio, because that's one of the things that I'm working on, guys, is my cardio. And I just felt more joyous, right? I'm wishing all of the everybody, not just the ladies trainers, but the male trainers too, everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Guys, I don't think it's weird that if you reach out to your homies and you tell them happy Valentine's Day, it doesn't make it weird. It doesn't make it gay. If you love your male friends, it's okay to wish them a happy Valentine's Day, right? Us men, we got to get out of that stigma that, oh, I ain't gonna wish my homeboy happy Valentine's Day because that seems weird. No, it's not, right? As I wish a lot of the male trainers a happy Valentine's Day, as well as my female trainers a happy Valentine's Day. And one thing I like to do too, especially for the ladies, I like to be nosy a little bit when it comes down to it. It's like I would go up to them and say, okay, so what's your plans? Someone taking you out on special Valentine's Day? Surprisingly enough, a lot of my female trainers and my female friends that I saw at the gym, they have no Valentines. They have no, and I'm not laughing at them because obviously I ain't got no girl either, but they have no Valentines. I'm like, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting for me to hear that. Like, because some of the trainers that I know, that I won't put their name out on blast because obviously they might be watching the show or listening to us this morning, but they're trainers, they're so pretty. So it's like, wow, you're so pretty and you don't have a Valentine's? That's interesting. Especially for the men too. It's like, wow, that and again, there's nothing wrong with it. That male trainer, he's handsome, he's buff. You ain't got no Valentine's? Nobody scooped you up? Like, that's interesting to me. So we ended up going to the gym, and then I went to get my car serviced. I do say to a lot of people, if you have a vehicle, please service your vehicle. Get the oil change, get those tires rotated. If you need fresh new tires, get those fresh new tires. I won't say the exact dealership I go to because I don't want people like really knowing too much information about me, but I end up going to my dealership to which I got my new car from to get that oil change and get some fresh tires done. So very, very good for that. And after that, I ended up going to Cheesecake Factory. Shout out to Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory, ladies, let me tell you, and now this is the part where I'm picking on ladies. Ladies, Cheesecake Factory is good. Right? If you are one of those ladies that say Cheesecake Factory is trash, do not take me there on Valentine's Day. You're going to be missing out because Cheesecake Factory is so delicious. I ended up getting that orange chicken, that white jasmine rice with the strawberry shortcake, strawberry cheesecake on the side. You know, when they put the strawberries in the cheesecake and drizzle it with the strawberry sauce and they just drizzle it out. Heaven. And I ate that stuff too. I got home. It was a long drive day because I was everywhere. I got home, I took a shower, got comfortable, warmed my plate up, right? Ate my food while watching TV, ate the strawberry shortcake. It was delicious. And I even cheated because I had a Coca-Cola, right? That was my Valentine's, right? And of course, I ended up doing some gaming, to which I'm going to do that game review. God of War, Sons of Sparta, that just came out yesterday or 2 days ago. We'll get into the review. But that's what I ended up doing for Valentine's Day. Very fantastic. I do say this to say to my ladies and to my fellas. But I got to talk a little bit about my fellas because obviously I'm a fella, so I can only relate really solely to my fellas. But to everybody out there, but again, to my fellas, it is okay to celebrate Valentine's Day single. I think this year, this Valentine's Day, because you guys can follow me at my Instagram, Kennedy Lucas NBA, by the way. You can follow me on Instagram. I posted about it. It's okay to celebrate something like this by yourself. I think this year, this Valentine's Day, it taught me self-love. It taught me self-respect. It taught me humbleness. It taught me self-discernment, right? Because I think this is the first ever Valentine's in the last 6 years of me not having a Valentine's. Yeah, I've had crushes. I had girlfriends within those 6 years, yes. But I've never had a true Valentine yet. And it's not to say that it's not going to happen, fellas, because it will happen one day. I think I'm just in this season that I'm just so endowed with myself and I'm so in my discernment and my spiritual journey, not only with God, but to just know myself first, right? To know that I can go to the gym and not worry, to go get my oil change, get tires done and not worry, to not go and to go to Cheesecake Factory and get something that I'm just really going to enjoy to eat with and be totally fine, right? I think out of all of the days, after all the times in the day on Saturday, I think my happiest was Cheesecake Factory and cheesecake because I'm a big foodie, right? And that's one thing. My future girlfriend, whoever she is out there in the world, my enjoyment is food, right? We're gonna go out to eat, right? Because I enjoy it. That's my happy place is food. It's food, it's comfort food, right? So it's okay to be in your discernment and to be single this time around because you have time to spend more time by yourself. And that's what I think a lot of fellas are starting to understand it nowadays because, again, as I joke about seeing a lot of single men in the gym Saturday, it's true. A lot of men, they're choosing their self first. They're choosing peace and harmony. And it's not to say that all ladies bring nothing but chaos. That's not true. But fellas are just focused on peace right now. That's why you see a lot of them single. And ladies, and fellas do this too, but ladies, I got to pick on you just a tad bit. You guys make it hard for us to try to approach you nowadays. So we kind of gave up, right? I kind of quit, you know. And it's not to say I quit on it because God doesn't want me to have a partner. That's not, because a lot of fellas, they go on TikTok and they say, well, God is punishing me. No, God is not punishing you. God is just protecting you from something, because I'm always going to be that firm believer that a rejection from a job, a rejection from a girlfriend is God's protection, because God is protecting you from something that could arise in chaos if you didn't listen, right? And if that girl just settled with you, then chaos erupts, right? So if you get rejected from that girl, I'm being protected from God, from something that I can't see, because love is blind, right? So I do say that to a lot of fellas. Don't feel like you're all alone in this world when it comes down to relationships, because that is not always the case. You know, it's just one of those things that this is my season to possibly maybe stay single for a second, right? Because I've had flings. You guys know about the old gym crush, right? I had flings and whatnot the last months, right? But now and I've known this for about a month now. I think I'm okay to be single right now, because that's the season God wants me in right now, right? I am going to continue to give you guys radio shows and talk shows and podcasts. I'm going to continue to get my bread up. I'm going to continue to get my weight up, get my exercise, get more swole and lift and to lose weight, right? This is the season for me to do that, right? And tidbit, if you guys didn't know, I'm getting ready to move to a different house. So And I'm going to Cancun in May. It's not to flex and say, "Ha, look what I'm got, look what I'm doing." It's just I think this is the season where God needs me in right now. And if along the way a girlfriend does come, because God works in mysterious ways, fellas, miracles happen, right? There's gonna be a girl that's gonna come and rock my world for the better. I just don't know it yet, right? And God ain't gonna tell me. God gonna show me, right? So I just say that, not to get on a preachy banter this morning, but I want my fellas to understand that, because I think a lot of fellas felt a little bit sad this past weekend, because everybody is taking their girlfriends out for lunch. I had some friends that I won't put their name out on blast, but I heard that a lot of my friends, their boyfriends did not take them out to dinner, and I'm like, baby girl, if you were mine, we going out to eat. Like, what time you get off? Okay, you tired? I don't care. I need you to get dressed because I'm taking you out to dinner for Valentine's Day. But that's another story. I won't go there. But as I was playing video games on Valentine's Day night, I stumbled, of course, on this new game from Santa Monica Studios. Now, if you guys know, a few days ago, PlayStation had their Direct. And I'm very excited for the Direct because, honestly, and I won't go into detail about the whole PlayStation Direct because it's a lot to unpack there. I think the PlayStation Direct was really good. Hands down, it was really good. We got some good stuff, right? PlayStation, please, let's bring back some more EPs, though. God of War, love it. But we need Sly 5. Every Direct, I should give up by now, ladies and gentlemen, because they're obviously PlayStation don't give a crap about Sly Cooper, but we need Sly 5. It's time, right? Sly 4 came out in 2013, and we haven't got anything since. I think it's time to bring back Sly to introduce in PlayStation 5 era. I think it's time. Develop something, guys. But besides the point, PlayStation gave us their Direct, and it was really, really good. Hands down, it was really good. We got a lot of great things, a lot of good games that are coming out. Again, I won't dabble too much into it. A lot of indie games are coming, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, they did a spinoff, or they did a kind of a press release for Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil Requiem. I'm still debating on if I want to get that game because I'm not really big into horror games that much anymore because I don't like jump scares. But God of War, T.C. Carson, first and foremost, T.C. Carson, the OG Kratos, is back into the limelight of things, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys don't know, T.C. Carson was the original voice actor for Kratos for the God of War series before Christopher Judge came and did the remake, right? T.C. Carson is a fantastic voice actor. First and foremost, God of War Trilogy remake will be happening. It's still in production. I think we're going to see God of War Trilogy maybe next year. We probably won't see it, and I'll be surprised if we get it later at the end of this year. I think, though, it's going to be something that's going to be next year. It's going to be a combo package thing where you get God of War 1, 2, 3 remake trilogy. I can't wait to see what that remake really looks like, if they're really doing a remake from top to bottom. I think they probably should. I don't think they should just slap some things on it and call it a remake because it's really more of a remaster. I can't wait to see what this remake is going to do. I mean, I think they're going to really pull out all the stops, especially if you got T.C. Carson back revoicing his character, revoicing some things. I think it's time. We probably won't see it until 2027, if I'm being honest, right? Because PlayStation does have a lineup of games throughout the year already jam-packed, right? And, of course, nobody wants to compete with GTA 6 that's getting ready to come out in November. Hopefully, gets no more delays. Rockstar says that they're not doing any more delays. I hope that is to be true, but we're going to wait and see what happens. But I'm really, really excited for that trilogy remake because I did play all three of the God of War games when I was a kid. Didn't understand it when I was a kid. I revisited it when I was a young adult, and obviously God of War and God of War Ragnarok swept me away, so I'm dabbled into God of War now. But they did kind of a shadow drop. And last year, last year we heard about Santa Monica doing a retro version of God of War. A lot of people were skeptical about it. People didn't know what it was going to look like. But now, 2 days ago, God of War Sons of Sparta they did a 2D classical retro remake telling the stories of young Kratos and his brother Deimos throughout the story of being a young Spartan with the land of Sparta. It gives you the likes of retro 2D mixed with, if you guys remember, I don't know if this is the studio that did it, but you guys remember the Lion King video game that came out like when we were kids, like in the 1990s? Or maybe Aladdin did the same kind of concept with the 2D graphical style. That's what the graphical style looks like. If you know, you know. You played the OG Super Nintendo Lion King video game that came out in the 90s. That's kind of that scope, but of course with God of War, with some new tactical combat, beat 'em up, mash 'em up kind of feel to it. And I was intrigued. I said, okay, this game is dope. Can't wait to play it maybe at the end of the year, you know. They said available 2026. Okay, maybe it's coming out for summer. Nope, it came out that same day. I love it when video game studios give us something today, right? So it said, nope, available right now. I said, okay, bet. That is what I'm going to do on Valentine's Day. That is the game I'm playing this weekend. Bet. So I read the comments, the Reddit comments, and let me tell y'all something. First and foremost, I like this game. I do. I like the voice acting in this. I like the combat style, right? Of course, you got your skill tree, your weapons enhancement. Every video game has that nowadays. I like it. I like this 2D feel. I think Santa Monica and Mad Cat Studios, they did something interesting with the God of War franchise, and I think it works. I was hooked when and the reviews they're probably out as of this morning, but this was a game that I just bought and just didn't read the reviews. I just bought it because I'm a big God of War guy, and I just fell in love with, and I really like Santa Monica Studios. I think they make some really good projects. So I just was so endabbled into it, right? So I bought it. And guys, let me tell y'all something. This game is $30. So you're not going to expect this game to be super, super top tier, triple A, quadruple A game that is worth $70. You won't get that in this video game. They gave us something that we can play right now. We don't have to wait for anything. It's available right now. Something that you can get endowed with the weekend, because that's been my whole weekend playing this game. And it's fun. I really like this platform because I'm a platformer guy too, right? It's platformy, it's puzzle solving a little, and it's combat. And it's God of War. I like this 2D, 3D type of feel when it comes down to these video games. I really do. It's almost, and I can't say it's RPG because it's not really an RPG, but it's a beat 'em up, mash 'em up platformer in the form of God of War. You're playing a young Kratos, right? You're exploring throughout the world. You're exploring throughout caves and forests and Sparta, and you're still fighting these giant bosses that's tough as nails, right? There is a challenge into this game. So when I read the Reddit comments, and a lot of people say, "Oh no, this game is boring." Why? I wonder why people say it's boring, or they say like the background, like the graphics look bland. Not really to me. I think this game looks beautiful, right? I think a lot of people are so used to having video games that have like this vibrant color, this vibrantness, but I kind of like this blandness of this because it works in telling the story of God of War, Kratos, Greek mythology, right? I just hate that video games I hate that studios get a bad rap when they develop something really cool. I think this game is really, really cool. I'm not fanboying over this game. I don't work for Santa Monica Studios, so I'm not getting paid to tell them how good their game is. I just think this is really, for $30, this game is kind of cool for $30. Now, I'm glad they didn't ask for $60, $70 because, again, this is not a $60, $70 worth of a video game for what this is. Not necessarily. But $30, okay, I can kind of see it, right? I see it. I'm playing it. It got me hooked. I like the story. Like I say, I haven't gotten so far into it because it came out 2 days ago. So I think Deimos is going to be one of the main villains. I think Deimos is going to be where Kratos and Deimos going to be fighting, because at the beginning I guess Kratos came up. So your character Kratos came up to Deimos and he kept calling Deimos' name, and Deimos was so enthused with something. I think he's getting the spirits is talking to him. I think he's going to be the main villain. What happens? I think Kratos is going to be the one that kills his brother. But besides the point, God of War Sons of Sparta, it's really good. It's $30. Again, let's stop hating on $30. It's $30. That's really good for a video game nowadays compared to $70, $80, right? I like it. I really like this one. Santa Monica Studios is doing their thing. I can't wait for their remake. I think they're going to use this 2D platformer and then the remake for their next project. I don't think we're going to see, because I think a lot of people, I think we're ready for God of War Egypt. The speculation that we're going to have God of War Egypt. We're not going to have that. Maybe we probably won't have that until 2028, to be honest with you. Maybe late 2027, maybe, but 2028 is when we're going to have God of War Egypt. That's the speculated name. Really dope, really dope. Very, very good buy. I recommend that people buy it. And moving on to my next review, this one thing that I'm just gonna do, super short review, that I did over the weekend. And okay. I don't want to say too much about Netflix because we hope to get Dear Isaiah to Netflix one day. Man, but Tyler Perry. So if you guys don't know, Tyler Perry got this new movie out. It's called Joe's College Road Trip. And I'm just going to say this. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just waiting for Why Did I Get Married Again to come out, because that's when Tyler Perry be in his bag, when those type of movies come out. Obviously, I like both Why Did I Get Married movies. I didn't really like the spinoff show for Angela and Marcus characters. I didn't really like the spinoff show. For better or worse, I didn't really care too much about the show, but I like the movies. And I think Tyler Perry is in his bag when he do those type of movies. I've been saying this for years, right? Joe's College Road Trip. Don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand the excessive cursing. I don't understand the plot. Right? I get it. Brian, Tyler Perry's character's son, is going off to college. He's trying to act like he's white, but he's really black. Okay, I get that movement. I get it. But the opening dialogue between Brian and Medea and Joe, I was eating and I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, I don't understand the dialogue. I don't know if it's just, hey, we need to spit something out for Netflix, so we're just going to quick write this thing. And I'm not a huge hater on Tyler Perry, because honestly, Tyler Perry can really make some good movies when he actually tries, right? I love to give him an actual script and produce a movie with him of a movie that he's actually writing, he's actually trying, right? I just don't think he really tries with the Medea and Joe movies. I just don't care too much about them anymore. I mean, back in the day, Medea movies used to be funny, right? But nowadays, it's like, ugh. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I wish I could get it. Maybe it's not for me to understand. Maybe it's not a cater to my audience. He definitely got the woman saying, mm-hmm, in his movies. He got it. That's his niche. That's the selling point. But boy, howdy, I just don't get this one. My sister, shout out to Deamber, she watched it and she didn't get it. I just didn't get it. I really didn't. Again, maybe it's not for me to understand, but it's just one of those things that happens. So that's just my short review on Tyler Perry. Watch it if you want. I'm going to stick to The Pit and Industry from HBO and other shows. The Mayor of Easttown is really good that I'm watching. Just shows that are just trying and really got some good script writing, I guess. So we're gonna pass it on to our front page news with Simone. I know my segment was 30 minutes, but why not? We like to give you guys a great show, and I'll be back to wrap up the show here this morning. Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. Here's your front page news.
Wake up, y'all! It is now time for the front page news of the day on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. Yeah!
Good morning, Kennedy and fans. Here's the front page news. We have the numbers. As previously projected, J. Cole's The Fall Off has officially become his 7th #1 album on the Billboard charts. J. Cole is currently taking a break from his trunk sale tour. He just got some good news concerning his new album, The Fall Off's first week sales. Following a lot of projections, his purportedly final LP is now his 7th #1 album on the Billboard chart. According to the publication, the project moved 280K album equivalent units in its first week, a bit shy of the 290K-ish number that previous projections indicated. Still, it's a massive success, with this being the highest debut for a hip-hop or R&B album in almost a year. Previously, Playboi Carti's music debuted atop the Billboard chart with 298K units in its first week. Of these 280K sales for The Fall Off, about 167K come from streaming, specifically from 169.5 million on-demand streams from the whole album. Pure album sales, such as vinyls, account for 113K, and track equivalent album units make up 500 of these sales numbers. This is also the biggest sales week on vinyl for a hip-hop or R&B album in a year, with 80K units. The last highest-selling vinyl week came from Kendrick Lamar's GNX, which sold 87 K.L.Ps in its first week of availability as a vinyl pressing. Elsewhere on the Billboard chart, Bad Bunny has 2 albums. The first is Debí Tirar Más Fotos at #2 with its biggest sales week ever, moving 250K units in the wake of his Super Bowl 50 halftime show. The second is Un Verano Sin Ti at #6 with 81K. Don Toliver's Octane, which still holds the record for a hip-hop album's biggest Spotify debut week in 2026, fell from #1 to 4 with 97K. Joji's new album, Piss in the Wind, debuted at #5 with 86K. This success for The Fall Off is great to see, especially with all the discourse surrounding it and the long path Cole led us on to get here. J. Cole's trunk sale tour continues to captivate, whether it's by chatting with fans or hooping with them. Next up, DJ Vlad confirmed to Sneako that he doesn't actually believe Jay-Z and Roc Nation manipulated Tory Lanez's Megan Thee Stallion shooting case. DJ Vlad has previously defended Tory Lanez's conviction for shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the face, of folks claiming Jay-Z and Roc Nation manipulated the case in their favor. His recent tweet mocking these conspiracy theories set the timeline on fire, and he called Sneako during his live stream. Vlad explained that his tweet claiming that The Rock paid him off was completely sarcastic, even if many folks didn't take it that way. People just do not know sarcasm, do they? He expressed, as caught by the neighborhood talk on Instagram. Sarcasm really just goes over people's heads. It really surprises me. Of course I'm trolling, man. Jay did a verse on the judge's grandson's album? Ha ha ha. How is this not obvious? Was convicted by 12 jurors and appeal has been denied. Look, at the end of the day, we don't exactly know what happened, Vlad went on. But when you shoot a woman and she's willing to take the stand and say, that person shot me, that is very hard to get over. If he really didn't shoot her, then he should have taken the stand and said that. All the pieces. He's talking to Kelsey over the jail phone and apologizing to her. She's the shooter. DJ Vlad went on to combat Sneako's references to conspiracies about Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, such as old claims from Kelsey's bodyguard, appeal efforts, forensic reports about glass, and the notion that the gun fell to the floor and fired by itself twice. He pointed to Lanez's changes in the story throughout the trial and appeal process, appeal denials, and a doctor's testimony about bullet fragments.
Turn it up.
They shoot. They score. Top of the hour sports talk on Coffee Talk. Presented by Spotify.
We back.
We don't give a fuck.
Good morning, everyone. Cera, you know what blows my mind? The human brain's ability to literally rewire itself. Take NBA star Giannis Antetokounmpo. He not only had to master basketball at the highest level, but had to completely reprogram his mind to think and dream in a new language.
That's fascinating. And it's not just Giannis, right? The NBA has become this incredible linguistic melting pot with 135 players from 43 different countries.
Well, what's really interesting is how these players develop this unique mental framework, like Victor Wembanyama explained, that while his thoughts flow in French, all his basketball vocabulary exists purely in English.
That must create such an interesting cognitive dance during games. How do they manage split-second decisions while translating in their heads?
You know, that's exactly what Ivica Zubac struggled with. He realised he couldn't afford to think in Croatian first because those precious milliseconds of translation time would make his defensive calls too late.
So these players essentially have to rewire their entire thought process just to keep up with the pace of the game.
Precisely. And what's fascinating is how some coaches approach this challenge. Take Jason Kidd's method with Giannis. He actually created these detailed terminology sheets and would drill Giannis constantly, refusing to let him use the language barrier as an excuse.
That's quite intense. But I suppose it worked, though I love how OJ Mayo took a different approach by giving Giannis movies like Friday to help him understand American slang.
Speaking of different approaches, let me tell you about Alperen Sengun's journey. He came to the NBA from Turkey with basically zero English skills and initially relied heavily on an interpreter who literally lived with him.
How did that work out for his development?
Well, here's the interesting part. Sengun actually realised that having the interpreter was becoming a crutch that was slowing down his progress. So after about 6 months, he started intentionally going places without his interpreter, forcing himself to communicate in English.
That must have been incredibly challenging, but also really brave. I mean, just navigating daily life in a new language.
You know what Nicholas Batum said about that? He mentioned that while the basketball part was manageable, simple things like going to the bank were terrifying at first. It really highlights how these players face challenges way beyond what we see on the court.
That reminds me of something I noticed in the article. How some players don't even know certain basketball terms in their native languages because they learned the sport through English.
Exactly. Kristaps Porzingis mentioned that even when he's playing with the Latvian national team, they still use English basketball terminology because that's just become the universal language of the sport.
Though what I find really intriguing is how their minds switch between languages depending on their environment. Like how Giannis and Luka both mentioned their dreams changing languages based on where they're playing.
And it's not just about the language itself, it's about the entire cultural context. These players are essentially becoming cultural ambassadors, bridging different worlds through sport.
That's so true. And it seems to be reflected in how the NBA itself is evolving, with the new All-Star format featuring international and American teams.
Let me share something particularly fascinating about how these players adapt. Nikola Jokic mentioned that his first year was hilarious because he couldn't even communicate basic defensive coverages. Now, he's a 3-time MVP who seamlessly transitions between Serbian and English.
Well, that's quite a journey from struggling with basic terms to becoming one of the most sophisticated playmakers in the league.
And you know what's really telling? Even when these players are representing their home countries, like when Wembanyama was playing for France in the Olympics, certain expressions just come out in English, like when he shouted, "Let's fake and go," after a crucial basket.
That really speaks to how deeply ingrained the language of basketball has become in their psyche, doesn't it?
Absolutely fascinating. And it goes beyond just communication. These players are literally creating new neural pathways, developing what you might call a basketball bilingualism that transcends traditional language barriers.
That's such an interesting way to look at it. It's like they're not just athletes anymore, they're linguistic pioneers in their own right.
And think about the implications for future generations of players. As the NBA becomes increasingly international, this ability to navigate multiple languages and cultures might become just as important as physical skills.
So that's a really good point. Do you think we'll start seeing more formal language training programs specifically designed for international players?
Well, considering how successful some of these adaptation strategies have been, like kids' terminology drills with Giannis, I wouldn't be surprised if teams start developing more sophisticated language integration programs.
Though it seems like the informal methods, like watching movies and just forcing yourself to communicate, play a huge role too.
That's right. And what's particularly interesting is how this linguistic journey affects different aspects of their game. Some players mentioned that trash talking, for instance, just works better in English, regardless of their native language.
That's such a fascinating cultural detail. Like there's something about English that just carries more weight when it comes to court banter.
And it really shows how language shapes not just how we communicate, but how we experience and process the world around us. These players aren't just translating words, they're translating entire ways of thinking about and experiencing the game.
That's really profound when you think about it. They're not just playing basketball, they're participating in this ongoing global cultural exchange.
Looking ahead, I think this trend will only continue to reshape the NBA. As more international players enter the league, we might see even more interesting linguistic and cultural adaptations emerge.
Well, it certainly makes you appreciate these players on a whole new level, doesn't it? Not just for their athletic abilities, but for their incredible mental adaptability.
Indeed, and perhaps that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. Success in modern basketball requires so much more than just physical talent. It's about being able to adapt, learn, and thrive in an increasingly interconnected world.
Wake up! Get up! We starting the day! Let's get into it. Our top story of the day on Coffee Talk, presented by Spotify. Turn it up! Let's go.
Hey everyone, Emma Johnson here. And today we're taking a quick detour from the usual tech talk to dive into some really pressing global news. It's been quite a week, with headlines that truly make you pause and reflect on fairness and accountability worldwide. We've got two major stories that, while seemingly disconnected, both speak volumes about the ongoing struggle for equitable societies. First off, we're looking at a huge corruption scandal unfolding in Ukraine, specifically with the detention of a former energy minister, German Galushenko. And then we're going to pivot to a different kind of disparity, one that affects millions every single day, the gender pay gap, with some pretty stark predictions coming from the Trades Union Congress. So grab your favorite brew, because we're going to unpack these complex, critical issues together, eh? It's going to be a fascinating discussion. Let's kick things off with the dramatic news out of Ukraine. Imagine this. A former energy minister, German Galushenko, detained right as he's trying to leave the country. This isn't just some isolated incident. It's part of a massive anti-corruption probe dubbed Operation Midas. Authorities are alleging a staggering $100 million embezzlement scheme within Ukraine's energy sector, specifically at the national nuclear operator Energoatom. Galushenko is accused of systematically collecting kickbacks, reportedly between 10% and 15% of contract values. And you know, what's really striking here is the timing. This scandal broke as Russia intensified its attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, right before a bitterly cold winter. The sheer audacity of enriching oneself from such a vital sector during a national crisis, it's beyond belief, really. This kind of betrayal of public trust, especially during such a vulnerable period, truly underscores the deep-seated issues that anti-corruption bodies are up against daily. This isn't just about one minister either. The scandal has really rocked President Volodymyr Zelensky's administration, which, ironically, came to power promising to root out corruption. Zelensky's chief of staff, Andrei Yermak, even resigned after his home was searched, though neither he nor Zelensky have been accused of wrongdoing. But the pressure is mounting, especially from the US, for Ukraine to hold elections, which have been suspended since the war began. For Ukraine, tackling corruption is a crucial requirement for its aspirations to join the EU. Organizations like the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, or NABU, and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, SAP, have been working for a decade, trying to untangle these deeply ingrained issues. It truly highlights the persistent, complex battle against corruption in the region, a challenge that predates the current conflict and continues to hinder progress, sadly. The international community watches closely, knowing that genuine reforms are paramount for future stability and integration into the European framework. Now, let's shift gears to another massive issue, one that hits much closer to home for many of us: the gender pay gap. The Trades Union Congress, or TUC, has just released some pretty sobering analyses. They're warning that at the current rate of progress, the gender pay gap won't close for another 30 years, until 2056. That's just wild, isn't it? The disparity is currently 12.8% on average, translating to about £2,548 per year. The TUC even puts it powerfully. The average woman effectively works for 47 days of the year for free compared to men. And it's not just in male-dominated fields. Even in sectors where women make up the majority, like health and social care or education, the gaps are still significant, 12.8% and 17% respectively. It's a stark reminder that even with increased awareness, systemic issues persist, demanding more than just conversation, but concrete structural change across the board to truly see equity. So, what's behind this persistent gap, and what can be done? The TUC points to several factors, particularly the long-term effects of women pausing or reducing their career ambitions due to caring responsibilities. It's why the gap is widest for workers aged 50 to 59. Their proposed solutions are things like improved access to paid parental leave so that both mums and dads can better share care, and of course, better access to childcare and more flexible working arrangements. These aren't new ideas, but they're critical. Business groups like the CBI have voiced concerns about increased costs, arguing it could reduce willingness to hire. But the government says it's tackling the root causes, with changes to flexible working, stronger protections for new mothers, and expanded childcare. It's a complex balancing act, but one thing is clear: ensuring fairness and equity in pay is not just an ethical imperative, but an economic one too. Feeling the weight of the world's complexities, drowning in headlines but craving true understanding? Then tune in to Global Unease, the podcast that cuts through the noise. I'm Emma Johnson, and each week we dive deep into the stories that truly matter, like the shocking $100 million corruption scandal rocking Ukraine's energy sector, or the stark reality of the gender pay gap, predicted to persist until 2056. We tackle these critical global challenges, providing you with clear insights and expert analysis. What makes Global Unease different? We connect the dots, offering context and perspective on issues from political intrigue to societal inequalities. We don't just report, we explore the why and the what next. If you are tired of surface-level news and want to truly grasp the forces shaping our world, Global Unease is your essential listen. Find Global Unease wherever you get your podcasts. Search Global Unease today. That's Global Unease. Don't just hear the news, understand it. Subscribe now.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody that stayed tuned this morning. I do want to say thank you, everyone, our audience, our fans, our cast, our crew, our producers, our writers, everybody that tunes in with our show. Coffee Talk has been a very, very fun experience. If you guys listen to today's episode, we added more DJ drops and more transitions and sound effects to the show, too. I think Coffee Talk is here to stay. It's not to say, and I think I said this last time, it's not to say that K.L.P. Aftermath is going anywhere. I think I'm going to put that show down for a second because I think I want to focus on why we started podcasting, why we started doing radio, and it was the set, right? This is the first ever set that premiered primetime radio talk show for me. And it's not to say that Our Heart is not doing their thing. We love Our Heart because Our Heart Media, they're still producing what had happened was, right? It won't be questioned. So it's not to say that Our Heart is the problem. I just want to get back to being creative with our talk shows and innovative. And I think my show, our shows, it's the extra voices that make the show run better, right? That's where my head's at. It might change, right? I change every day when it comes down to producing. My mind might change, but this is kind of where I'm at right now. And of course, you got me and Evelyn for What Had Happened Was. New episodes coming soon, So it's not to say you're not going to have many more of me, but sometimes it's not always about me when it comes down to me podcasting. So we hope that everyone enjoy it. We love you guys. We'll catch y'all in another new episode tomorrow. Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. And we hope that everyone is having a blessed Monday. Stay safe. It's been raining yesterday, so hopefully we got the sunshine today. Stay safe. Stay swanky. Peace, love, and respect from our entire cast and crew. Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. Peace, y'all.
We bring in good energy. This has been Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. From our cast, we thank you for listening.
Yeah.